So, this NASCAR champion, Kyle Busch, just died at the age of 41. I found some pretty huge connections with this guy. He was born May 2nd, 1985 in Las Vegas, died May 21st, the 141st day of the year, in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I heard there was some controversy about a fake birth certificate, and he's actually a year older or something, but I'm not going to get into that because I know nothing about it. So now the first thing I want to show that's pretty damning is that if we go from his last birthday to his death on 5/21, it's exactly 5.21% of 2026. And again, he died on 5/21. So there you have it, right off the bat. And not only did he die on the 141st day of the year, 141 of course being the number that equals World War III, June 11th, Seattle slew, etc. But if you watched my Timothy McVeigh video, you know he died on the date that Timothy McVeigh is 9,110 days dead. And that reminds me, happy Memphis Founding Day, everyone. Today, McVeigh is 9,111 days dead. And Busch's death actually connects to what I've been talking about. Because again, he died in Charlotte, North Carolina. Remember, today would have been Irina Zarutska's 24th birthday. Born May 22nd, 2002. But she was murdered August 22nd of last year. And where was she murdered? In Charlotte, North Carolina. Stabbed on a train in the neck. And as I literally just showed in my McVeigh video, on the 1-year anniversary of her death later this year, 9/11 will be exactly 9,111 days old. So forgive me for thinking that this is an absolutely enormous deal here. Absolutely huge beyond words. Not just because it connects to something I was just talking about, but because Timothy McVeigh just turned 9,111 days dead on Zarutska's 24th birthday, 5/22, and on her 1-year death anniversary, 9/11, will turn the same amount of days old. And Busch died in North Carolina, where she died just 1 day before her birthday. The day in which Timothy McVeigh was 9,110 days dead, but 9,111 if you were to include the end date. And remember that Kyle Busch was born on 5/2. Remember what I showed in my Golden Tempo video from 5/22/2001, the air date of the Gift Tower Sacrifice episode of Buffy, to 5/2/2026 when Golden Tempo won the Kentucky Derby. It's also 9,111 days. Do you see how it all is like a chain link fence connecting together? And I guarantee you there's nobody else showing this information. Guaranteed. No one else was looking at how long Timothy McVeigh has been dead. No one else has been looking into how important this episode of Buffy with Trachtenberg as the Tower Sacrifice is. No one else was looking at 9/11 being 9,111 days old on Irina Zarutska's death anniversary. The girl born on 5/22, Memphis's founding date, the year after the Tower Sacrifice episode aired. And that episode, 9,111 days old on Busch's birthday. Come on, man, for real. This is Explosive information I'm showing you here. Absolutely explosive, because it all connects to each other. In fact, if you watch my Golden Tempo video, the main reason I found this information to begin with is because 5/2/2026 looks like 5/2/2, Memphis' founding date, with the 26, and The Gift, which aired on 5/2/2001, and everything about Michelle Trachtenberg points to the year 2026. And as a result, I've found this explosive chain reaction. So let's do a quick recap of these puzzle pieces. Kyle Busch, born on 5/2. In the year 2001, The Gift Tower Sacrifice episode aired on 5/22, Memphis' founding date. That was before 9/11, and that was before McVeigh's execution, though both were in the same year. Then 1 year to the day after this episode airs, Irina Zarutska is born. Jump ahead to Kyle Busch's birthday this year, when Golden Tempo won the Kentucky Derby, and The Gift is 9,111 days old. Then we go from McVeigh's 6/11/2001 execution to 5/22/2026. Today, Irina Zarutska's 24th birth date. 9,111 days again. The 25-year anniversary of The Gift. Now, Busch died yesterday on 5/21, the 141st day of the year. 9,110 days after McVeigh's execution, though if you were to include the end date, it also would be 9,111. And again, remember that on 5/2, Busch's birth date, The Gift Tower Sacrifice episode was 9,111 days old. And then finally, we jump ahead to 8/22 this year, the 1-year anniversary of Irina Zarutska's murder. And on that date, 9/11/2001 will be 9,111 days old. And again, Irina's birthday is today, 5/22, when McVeigh's death is 9,111 days old. So you see how it all connects to each other. So The Gift aired on May 22nd, 2001. Absolutely the most important episode of this entire show, in my opinion, where Glory, the Hell Goddess, uses Michelle Trachtenberg, aka Dawn, to open the Hell Portal. Exactly 1 year later, Irina Zarutska is born. Then on 5/2/2026, which is Kyle Busch's birthday, Golden Tempo wins the Kentucky Derby. On this date, The Gift was 9,111 days old. Now, the 2001 Pearl Harbor film premiered on May 21st, 2001, the very day before the Tower Sacrifice episode. Busch died on its 25-year anniversary, when McVeigh was 9,110 days dead, or 9,111 days dead if you include the end date. Meanwhile, last year on 8/22, Irina Zarutska, born on 5/22, was murdered on a North Carolina, Charlotte no less, train. Today would have been her 24th birthday, and today is The Gift's 25th birthday. McVeigh, 9,111 days dead today, without including the end date. And then 1 year after her murder, 9/11/2001, turns 9,111 days old. just like McVeigh's death is the same amount of days old today on her 24-year birthday. I mean, I know I'm spending a lot of time explaining this, but the fact that this all connects together so perfectly is really blowing me away. I mean, I was literally just talking about all this in my McVeigh video, and now the Busch death just ties it all together in a neat bow, and I'm just amazed by it. So yeah, this is a huge year, a very huge year. Now let me show you what else I found. The Final Destination, aka Final Destination 4, released in 2009. And by the way, look at how long the movie is, 1 hour 22 minutes. And the 122nd day of the year is 5/2, Kyle Busch's birthday. This is the film in the series that takes place at a racetrack. And look at the release date, August 28th, 2009. Director David R. Ellis. He has the Ellis, like that guy who played Lucifer in that stupid TV show. Well, that film was released 6,110 days before Busch died. You're 6'11" with a portal. Oh man, I saw that, and again, I was just blown away. And anyone who was in Garo's chat at the time can attest to the fact that I was the one who found all this. I mean, I just did a video on the McVeigh dates 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, however long it's been. And when I was trying to tell Garo about it in his chat, they deleted my comment, so I had to repost it. But again, like I said, no one else was talking about this information but me. So on the same date that race car driver Kyle Busch dies, the Final Destination, all about a race car disaster, turns 6,110 days old, 6'11", with a portal. How incredible is that? And it's the exact same day that Timothy McVeigh, who was executed on 6/11, turned 9,110 days dead. Absolutely astronomical odds, beyond comprehension, in my opinion. And if all of this doesn't show you that there's something sinister at work, I really don't know what will. Now remember that the first Final Destination came out on 3/17 in the year 2000. The backwards 7/13. Trump's ear clip was on 7/13, Shannon's death, and it was all about the 137, the highly occultic 33rd prime. Also, the first Final Destination began with Flight 180. For Elvis, of course. Clear Rivers, the character in the film, played by Ali Larter, born on 2/28, does the 6/7 thing. When talking about whatever age she was when she was constantly worrying about her parents dying, and then her dad was actually shot dead in a 7/11. Remember when Trump accidentally called 9/11 7/11? Tony Todd also in the films. Remember his last film was the most recent Final Destination with the Seattle Space Needle-like structure being destroyed. And Final Destination 3 is all about McKinley High School. Very connected to McKinley, the president. I could show date connections, but that's not what this video is about. I'm just showing how connected the entire Final Destination series is to the puzzle. Oh, and of course, Tony Todd died on 11/6/2024, the backwards 6/11. Now, 16 plus 8 plus 23 is 47. Of course, Trump, the 45, 47 president, which of course is 9/11. And remember how I've been talking about Disclosure Day's Emily Blunt and her 223 birthday? Well, this is 223. And by the way, this reminds me, unrelated, but a movie I was meaning to do a short video on is Jennifer's Body, starring Megan Fox as a succubus demon. As while it premiered on 9/10/2009 at the Toronto International Film Festival, of course your 9/10 Charlie Kirk connection, I was interested in this as it went into wide release on September 18th. And that is the 261st day of the year, your backwards 162. And not only is 9/18 the 261st day of the year, the backwards 162, but 9 times 18 is 162,611. So 9/18 connects to 611 both forwards and backwards. And that's not even the main reason I wanted to decode the film. It's because going from its release date to 6/11 this year, 6,110 days. Just like going from the Final Destination's release date to Kyle Busch's death. Pretty crazy, right? And there is some interesting stuff in this film, so I will do a quick video on it soon, but again, that's not what this video is about. I'm just showing you these connections. And speaking of Jennifer's, remember Jennifer McVeigh, Timothy's sister? Remember how I showed that from her birth date to 6/11 this year is 19,091 days? A perfect mirror, and it's our 1991. Another huge deal. Not only because the McVeigh connections are out of this world, as are the Trachtenberg connections to McVeigh, but if you go from any date in 1991, as I've shown before, to the exact same date this year, it's 12,784 days. Our 12/7 Pearl Harbor with our 84, right after the 84-year anniversary of Pearl Harbor. So think about this for a minute. We have all the McVeigh connections, all the Trachtenberg connections, and any date from 1991 to the same exact date this year gives us our 12/7/84. And with the 2001 dates, we're getting our 9/11 numbers this year. And then, as I just showed with our 2009 dates, we're getting our 6/11 numbers this year. So isn't it funny that we're getting all of those huge numbers in the year 2026 when all signs are pointing to 6/11? Personally, I think it's pretty incredible. We have our connections to Pearl Harbor, our connections to 9/11, and our connections to 6/11 all converging on 2026. Maybe I'm not explaining that as well as I'd like, but it really is truly incredible timing for all of it. Now, Kyle Thomas Busch, of course Thomas means twin, 223. What have I been saying about Emily Blunt? And here we have our 1338. You remember that number from the last video, don't you? Because the 1338 is the 11/20th composite. Remember Erica Franzwey, born on 11/20. Ever since I showed that video about her feuding with Vivian Kubrick, and I showed the prime number for her birthday, I've been seeing this number pop up constantly. And here's why. The prime of 11/20 is 9,011. I showed that in this video here, and the number's been popping up non-stop ever since. Of course, we also have our 79 here, Trump's age through 6/11. Our 5-6, Ted Turner just died on 5-6. And I knew this one from memory. NASCAR equals 5-6. Also 215 in Latin, Seattle Slew birthday. Now just Kyle Busch, look here, 822. What did I say about the connection to Irina Zarutska? Just further proof of that. Also our 137, our 47, our 421, Seattle Space Needle opening date, Rome founding date, 106. And look at the 106 composite, 141. Busch died on the 141st day of the year. I mean, I think I completely destroyed their ritual illusion immediately in this video when I showed that the distance from his last birthday to his death date was 5.21% of 2026, and he died on 5/21. But as you can see, there's a lot more to this. And seeing the big chain reaction of all of this is truly fascinating and will hopefully open some eyes. Also in Latin, 738 is the 607th composite, or 6-7. And here we have 45-2. 45 plus 2 is 47. Trump the 45-47 president. And of course, I can't forget to show that North Carolina gives us our 888 beast system number. I always remember those 888s, along with the other usual suspects. And look what Charlotte, North Carolina gives us. The big 250 in the year of the big 250. Also, 1114 in reverse satanic. That's Southland Tales release date. It's also Charles III's birth date. And what did I just talk about yesterday? The error at UK radio station Radio Caroline announcing the death of King, or so-called King, Charles. Radio Caroline and Kyle Busch just died in North Carolina. So yeah, interesting to get his birthday in there too, especially with the Radio Caroline incident. And here, NASCAR's Kyle Busch, 181 is the 42nd prime number, our big 4-2. Elvis dead at the age of 42, Washington the 42nd state. 4-2 being 162 days before 9/11. Our 55 Satan number. Our 1086, the beast system number. 98 in reverse reduction, and I want to remind that the 98th prime number is 521, and Busch died on 5/21. Don't forget that 1998 is also the 666 year. And with the 811 in reverse satanic, it's the 141st prime. Again, that's 521. Now let's get to the 8-4 connection, because Busch's brother, Kurt Busch, is also a race driver. 47 years old currently, and born on 8/4. So we had all of our 611 connections, our 911 connections, our World War III Seattle Slew June 11th 141 connections. Now we get our 8-4 connection as well. And from Kurt's birth to Kyle's death, 17,457 days. 1 plus 7 is 8. 4 plus 5 plus 7 is 16. 8/16, Elvis death date. You also have your 45-47 in there. 47 plus 9 plus 17 is also your 73 EL number. It's also your 47 forwards, 719 backwards, Trump's reverse birth date, reversed. And this is your 57 with your 317. Remember, Final Destination came out on 3/17. And the 57th day of the year is 226, Michelle Trachtenberg death date. And 5/7 is the 127th day of the year, Seattle Slew's death date. And 573 plus 17 is 590, or 59 with the portal. 59th day of the year is 228. A huge number, obviously, and also the backwards 822, Irina Zarutska. And speaking of Irina, her name equals 184. Remember, 184 is the 141st composite. Again, Kyle dead on the 141st day of the year. 5'8", a date I've been bringing up a lot lately. Don't forget that Erica Franzwey married Charlie Kirk on that date. And Charlie Kirk was talking about Irina Zarutska a lot before he was supposedly taken out. In fact, Zarutska's mother appeared with Erica at one of Trump's, I think it was the State of the Address. Yeah, it was the State of the Union. So a very appropriate number to have here. And 167. Remember that Kyle Busch was born on 5'2". Who else was born on 5'2"? Dwayne Johnson, who played boxer Santaros in Southland Tales. And Dwayne Johnson equals 167 in ordinal. Also our 86, like Irina was 86th. In Charlotte, our 10-2, Donnie Darko prophecy date. And I want to remind you that 167 is the 39th prime. Remember, Michelle Trachtenberg died at the age of 39, which signifies the year 2026, as 39 is the 26th composite. And Trachtenberg was in The Gift on 522, 1 year before Irina was born. The 167 composite is also 215, Seattle Slew's birthday. And it all just keeps lining up perfectly because Final Destination 4, which is known as the Final Destination, as it was supposed to be the last one, but money got the better of them and they did more sequels. 637 Latin. And 637 is the 521st composite. When did Busch die? 521. And remember that Latin is one of the most important ciphers, the hardest cipher to find matches. The 205th composite is also 261. Remember, Jennifer's Body, released on the 261st day of the year, the same year this film came out. 6,110 days before 6/11. Our 88, our 110. 870 is the 719th composite, 719, Trump's reverse birth date. And that 72 in Chaldean, the 51st composite, May Day, pagan sacrifice, Busch, a likely sacrifice. If he's actually dead, then he was 100% a sacrifice. That's if he's actually dead. The numbers are far too great for him not to be a sacrifice. And right here with Kyle Busch, it says that he was nicknamed Rowdy due to his love for the character Rowdy Burns. Well, check out Rowdy Burns in Gematria. We have our 5-1 sacrifice number, our 111, Space Needle open on the 111th day of the year, 9/11 leaves 111 days remaining in the year, our 5-7, Trachtenberg Seattle Slew number, our 666. And 159 ordinal, which just further supports the sacrifice theory, as is the 121st composite. The 121st day of the year is 5-1. 1896 standard, which is the 1605th composite. Drop the 0, 165, Trump born on the 165th day of the year, and look at the 1896 composite. Our order out of chaos as above, so below number combined with our 228. It says he was hospitalized with a severe illness. There's our 5-6 NASCAR number again, our Ted Turner death date, our 11/22 JFK date. Some other interesting numbers I'm not going to get into. I will say the severe illness thing did remind me of the serious negotiations headlines with Trump and Iran. Serious negotiations gives us our 254, go figure, huh? The 254th day of the year is 9/11. 9/2, the 92nd day of the year is 4/2, 162 days before 9/11. 11.5. More like 115, but you all know I can't speak well by now. The 84th composite. Now let's take a look at this article. Kyle Busch requests medical attention after NASCAR race at Watkins Glen. Take a look at what Watkins Glen equals. Our 162, 611. Also our 45, our 428. Remember, Charles III gifted Trump that bell on 428. I still need to do my video about that. 1222 in Latin, and that is the 10/22 composite. Drop the 0, that's 122. Busch born on the 122nd day of the year. Now it says Busch requested medical attention after finishing a season best 8th in Sunday's race at Watkins Glen International. As the May 10th race was winding down, Busch asked his team over the radio to have a doctor meet him at his bus in the garage area afterwards, though he didn't specify what the issue was. So he was quoted as asking for Bill Heisel, the doctor. And it says here on Busch's radio transmission, he mentioned, "I'm gonna need a shot." Interesting. So Bill Heisel, the guy he asked for to give him a shot, equals 188 in Latin. And of course, you know that that is Michelle Trachtenberg's number. That's what she equals in gematria. And right next to it, our 228. Over there in reverse Sumerian, we have our 162. Drop the 0. 93. You know how that connects to United 93. You know how that connects to Butler and the Washington Hilton so-called shooting. And you know how it connects to 124 with its 162 composite. 60 over there, like Super Bowl 60, a huge number in and of itself. And 177 in reverse, the 177 composite is 226. Michelle Trachtenberg died on 226. And again, she's 100% connected to this, as I showed you how everything is interconnected from 522 to 52 to 521 to 822, McVeigh, Trachtenberg, Zarutska, Busch, all of them. Now Wikipedia here says that Kyle Busch was a American professional stock car driver and racing team owner who raced from 2001 to 2026. So apparently he started in 2001. So of course I had to find out when his debut was, and it was August 10th, 2001. So you know what this means, don't you? It's the same as McVeigh, The Gift, and 9/11. Because his first race was in 2001, just like all of them. In fact, on 7/11, we get our first 9/11 connection, as it is 9,101 days after his first race. And if we go to Trump's reverse birth date, 7/19, which is also the end of the World Cup this year, include the end date, and it will be 9,110 days after his first race. Which means 7/20 would be that without including the end date, and 7/21 would be 9,111 days since his first race. 7/21, of course, are backwards 12/7 Pearl Harbor numbers. So again, the chain link fence continues. It said he most notably drove number 18 for the NASCAR Cup Series, number 51, there's our 5-1 sacrifice number for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and number 54 for NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. We know about the 5-4 as well. M&M's, which can be your 33 because you turn the M sideways. And it says he last competed full-time in the NASCAR Cup Series driving the number 8 Chevrolet Camaro, the CC. And if you use that 18, which he was most famous for, along with his last one, the 8, that can be your 188. Trachtenberg number yet again. Now, one of Kyle's biggest wins, most dominant, was at the May 27th, 2018 Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte, where he extended his series lead to 67 points over 22nd place finisher Joey Logano. Of course, we have our 6-7 there. And it's very interesting that they mention the 67-point series lead over his rival there, because he turned ill just days before the 67th Coca-Cola 600. Go figure, right? And from that big win to his death, 2,916 days. Now, September 16th plus 2 is September 18th. Again, that's the 261st day of the year. 9 times 18, remember, is 162. Remember that Jennifer's Body came out on that date in 2009, exactly 6/11, 0 days before 6/11 this year. Just like the Final Destination about the racetrack disaster was released exactly 6/11, 0 days before Busch's death. And 9 plus 1 plus 6 is 16. 2, 16, 8, 4. And remember his brother, born on 8/4. You could also do 2 plus 9 plus 1 is 12. 126. Kobe Bryant died on 126. KB, like Kyle Busch, is also KB. And the 126 composite is 165. Trump born on the 165th day of the year. And 29 plus 16 is your 45. We have another crazy connection here, as 7 plus 11 plus 24 is our 42. And July 11th plus 24 days just so happens to land on 8/4. So this line gives us both our 42 and our 8/4. And 95 plus 24 is 119, the backwards 9/11. And 416 plus 4 is 420. You know all about the 420 date. It can also be 42 with a portal. And you know, all the chained together connections really made me wonder how old Busch was on 5/22/2001, the gift air date. And wouldn't you know, 162 with a portal. And this episode was all about opening the portal to hell. So that's a pretty huge deal in and of itself. And here we have our 5-8 and 6-4, two big numbers in their own right. 58 plus 64 is also 122, and 5-2 is the 122nd day of the year. And it just gets better, because from his birth date to McVeigh's execution, 5,884 days. 58 plus 84 is 142. The 142nd day of the year is 522. The Gift Tower Sacrifice air date. Memphis's founding date, Irina Zarutska's birth date. And 16 plus 1 plus 9 is 26, pointing to 2026. And to Zarutska's birth date, 62 29 days, 62 plus 29 is 91, who is currently 91 years of age. And remember all the nonsense that happened on the 91st day of this year. April 1st. And January 7th plus 20 days is 127. And of course we have to go to Trachtenberg's death date. 14,545 days. 5 plus 4 plus 5 is 14. Twin 14s. 14 plus 14 is 28, a perfect number. Remember that Michelle Trachtenberg died exactly 28 weeks before the Charlie Kirk incident. 4 plus 1 is 5, so this could also be 514, and that, of course, is Israel's founding date. It can also be your 145, which is May 25th, the day I'm watching, with a 45. The 145 also does connect to her, because the 145th composite is 188, and remember her name equals 188. And March 9th, plus 9 plus 24 lands on 411, which is 6/11 on the Roman calendar. And remember everything that happened on that date this year. 477 plus 24 is 501, our sacrifice number. And remember that the 501st composite is 614, Trump's birthday. And finally, Zarutska's death date, 14,722 days. 722, of course, is 6/11's reverse date. 14 days after 722 is August 5th, my reverse birth date, the 217th day of the year. Remember, 217 is the start of the Fire Horse year, and it's also the weapons number from the 8/8 Lionsgate portal date. That film all about the resurrection of Trump that's upcoming. And 1 plus 4 is 5, 7 plus 2 plus 2 is 11, 5/11. 5 months and 11 days into the year, again, is 6/11. But yeah, a very interesting death here, to put it lightly. Very, very coded, and it 100% connects to everything I've been talking about in my past 2 videos. And as a quick side note, I wanted to point out that they're having enhanced Ebola airport screenings at Washington Dulles International Airport. And back in 2014, the first so-called diagnosed case of Ebola in the United States occurred in nearby Dallas. Do you see the wordplay here? Dulles, Dallas. The guy's name was Thomas Eric Duncan, initials TED, like Ted Turner, who was all about depopulation. Atlanta, the CDC. But yeah, Dallas, Dulles. Pretty interesting, yeah? And also, to add to my video from yesterday, I wanted to show 2 quick clips from the Steven Spielberg War of the Worlds. This first one shows how the aliens come down in the lightning. They ride the lightning to their underground tripod machines. Now, this video has no sound for some reason, but watch and you'll see what I mean. They show the alien coming down the lightning bolt. Down to the underground machine. Pretty creepy, yeah? And reminds you of Elvis, All About Lightning, and of course Satan, who fell to earth as lightning. And check out this. This is an actual clip posted online from somebody in Washington of a light under the water off the coast. And that was from JWTV's channel, one of the few other channels that I watch on YouTube. A good channel worth checking out if you're into bizarre events happening around the world. And that clip absolutely reminds me of this scene from War of the Worlds, of the tripod coming up under the water right next to the ferry. Check this out. Creating a whirlpool. And then it comes out of the water right next to the ferry, tumping it over with all the people on board. And then 3 more join it. A very creepy sight indeed. And tripod just so happens to equal 82, our Seattle number. Also down there in primes, our 262. You know all about that date with the whole Brandon Clark decode, with the whole Strait of Hormuz blockade, and 26 in Chaldean for the year 2026. Further proof, as you add an S to tripod for tripods, and you get your 101, the 26 prime, again 2026, and there you have your 88, and down in primes, 329. Remember that 329 is the 88th day of the year. And that 393 in Latin, the 315th composite, 315, is the 74th day of the year. Remember, another alien invasion film all about 7-4. But anyway, that's all for now. I'll have to get back to the whole McVeigh thing in another video. The Kyle Busch thing needed to be decoded, and I needed to show you how it is connected to all of this other stuff. All glory to God, and thank you for watching.